Hello everyone, and today I will be showing how to make a wireless charger for your car. So, if you're anything like me, you will like your car looking clean and have no wires dangling around or anything like that. You like your car looking nice, clean and stock, which is why I will be showing you how to make a wireless charger for your phone in your car that looks like this for under £10. Okay, so here is the list of all the parts that you will need for this project. This is just a standard wireless charger that was £5 on eBay. As you can see, the input is 2 amps and the output is 1 amp. And it comes with a micro USB cable, and the longer it is, the better, and I will explain why soon. Then we have the 12 volt to USB adapter. And while buying one, you must make sure that the output of the circuit at least matches, or in the best case exceeds, the required input for the wireless charger. And this piece was only about £3 on eBay. Now I already have it disassembled. It comes with a cable which is already installed in my car, as I was already using this prior to this project, but I will still explain on how to install this piece. And finally, we have the grip mat, which is going to be essentially the mounting point for this entire project. And this here was only £1 on eBay. So let's get started. Since all of this plastic stuff is going to be no use to me, I will now disassemble this wireless charger, as I will only need the coil and the circuitry. And bare bone kits are available on eBay, and they're actually as cheap as £3 shipped. So let's get that done. So this is what I'm left with after disassembling all of the plastics. So this is the coil, which will be sitting under the mat. I will desolder those 2 wires, as I would like the circuitry to sit under the dash, hidden from the sight. So once you're done with all the plastic stuff, you can put that away. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make an extension for these connectors using 2 pieces of wire that is roughly similar in diameter and some chrome connectors. So once your soldering iron has warmed up, get that out and start making the extension. For the chrome connectors, if the gauge of the wire is quite thin, I like to just bend it like that, so that it could provide a more solid connection. And just give it a tug to double check that it's all secure. Gonna do the same for the other wire. All safe and secure. Now I'm just going to place these connectors on these 2 wires. Okay, at this point we're ready to move on to the car. Now, first things first, where are you going to mount your USB adapter? For me personally, I just wanted to mount it as close as possible to the existing 12 volt supply. So what I did was I ran the cable that was already supplied to the 12 volt socket using those Y joints. And I just always like to apply a bit of tape to prevent some of the contacts touching accidentally. So just make sure that you're connecting the right wires to the right poles, in which case the red is a plus and the black is a minus. And you can see that it's connected correctly by the little blue light. I'm just going to leave this here for a minute. So the next step would be to decide where do you want to place your grip mat. And for me personally, I want it to be somewhere that's flat, somewhere that's far away from an airbag should anything happen. And so I think I'm going to choose this spot over here. It also makes the phone nice enough to reach. Not that you should use it while driving, but this is going to be my work area. And just to make it easier to work on this area here, I will start by removing my navigation and the climate control down there. When pulling out some of the things from the dashboard, just be careful as there's often a lot of wires sticking in from behind. So just be careful to disconnect them all and not just pull them out. So after some fiddling about, I've realized this is the spot where I want my mat to sit. And just be careful as some of the phones are really picky in regards to where you place them on the wireless charger. And for my phone, it seems to be dead on in the middle of the phone. So I'll just grab the coil and it's going to sit roughly here. So which means that I will be drilling the hole for the wires roughly around here. So I'll just go ahead and mark it with a pen. I am choosing a drill bit that corresponds roughly to the size of the crimp connectors right here. This one is a 6mm, and if it's too small, I can always go for one size bigger. I think this is going to be too small, so I'll just wiggle it about a little bit. And here we have success. It's a little tight, but alright, so here we have our coil in place. So just to keep the coil in place, I will apply a bit of super glue underneath. Just make sure that the surface is clean. And put a few drops. And that's it, firm in place now. Now the tough part is fishing for those extensions that we made, or actually fishing for the coil and fitting it to the extension. Ooh, the access in my car is really bad, but here it is. It's all connected up. I did end up removing my air vents, but the reason why I didn't just feed the cables up there, even though they're longer, is because it would actually be near impossible to try and feed something in here with this little room, unless your hands are tiny. Mine are not, unfortunately. But now that it's all connected up, all that's left to do is run a USB cable from the port all the way to the circuit. And exactly here, the advantage of a longer USB cable becomes clear. So I don't have a longer one at the moment. I could use a USB extending cable, and I think this is what I might end up using, but we will see. So as mentioned in the introduction, the entire point of this project is to eliminate any cables from the plane site. So I think to run the cable from down here and for it to come out here and connect to the circuit, I will end up removing this trim here. So let's get started on that. Okay, so at this point I have connected all this stuff. There was a wire that was already there when I disassembled the adapter. I've put a bit of tape around it just in case. You know, it's a 12-volt connection. The circuitry is all live, so I don't want it touching any metal in the car. So, just to be safe, I've applied a bit of tape. Now let's run this cable. Just when running the cable, try and avoid the areas where the trim usually connects, as that could easily damage the wire. Just to make sure that the center console units, such as my radio or the heating controls don't interfere with the cable. I made sure to run it on the very back of the center console. And look at that, it's all plugged in. Now I'm just going to give it a short try, and if it works, I will put everything back. Now comes the part of actually fitting the mat. So for this part, you really want to make sure that the surface is nice and clean, as the mat will not stick well if it's not. Just carefully unpeel it from the protective plastic. Remember where exactly you want to mount it in relation to the wireless charging coil. And just set it down like this. Looks good. Now, one of the great things about those mats is that if you find that yours is a little off, you can just peel it and reapply it on again, as it is a non-adhesive mat. So now it's going to be time just to fit everything back into its place and tidy up. Just gonna check real quick that the radio works, and it seems to be fine. And just to double check, this wireless charger is working. So that's a success. I also think it looks nice, it looks clean, there's no wires, and at the same time my 12-volt socket is fully usable. So for the end, I hope you found this tutorial useful. Thank you for tuning in. This is Adam G, and I will see you next time.